Welcome back to the channel, guys. I recently got this question right here. The question reads, hey man, could you do videos on how to become a producer, what equipment is needed, live streaming, podcast / broadcast, multi-camera control, etc. And I figured I could tell my story about how I ended up where I'm at right now and also try to answer your question. So I started professionally editing about 5 years ago. And the way I started doing that was just from doing it for myself. I've had podcasts since 2018 that were audio only. I was a musician for 10 years. I mean, I'm still a musician now, but I was a professional musician for about a good 10 years. So I picked up a lot of those skills then. And so I started editing our own podcast that we had at the time, myself and George, who's been on the channel a couple of times. Thanks to George and a high school friend that he had, his friend who had just recently built out and started a new studio in town called Sticky Paws Studios. So we recorded our last few episodes of our show at the time there. Unfortunately, our co-host ended up passing away shortly after, and we kind of stopped the show. I had a few clients here and there. I had a podcast client that I was editing for. I was editing his episodes. Really thankful to him for kind of giving me the opportunity to start editing. What I learned is I did not charge enough. I was doing full audio edits for $40 an episode. That is crazy. I mean, it's great if you're paying it, but it's crazy. I mean, like $40 now doesn't even really sometimes cover like my consulting fee. I was doing that for a little while. Then I was introduced to one of George's, really it's George's fault that I'm here now. I was introduced to one of George's friends who had recently finished film school. I was, kind of dabbling with video editing, doing some stuff for school, doing some stuff for us. And I was like, hey man, if you ever need an editor, just let me know. He did let me know. About 6 months later, he hits me up. He goes, hey, you still looking to video edit? And I go, yeah, sure. At the time I was working at 2K Games Vegas. I was a QA tester for 2K Games, these games. And so I was editing in my free time. Granted, I had a son who was only a year old at the time, and, working, what they say about video game companies and crunch is a real thing. So I was really doing it. So I started doing that for a year or two, and then eventually got let go from 2K. And I had known Travis, the studio director of Sticky Paws, and I just texted him. I was like, hey man, do you have, I just want to let you know, I'm out of work right now, but I'm free to edit. If you need any editing help or anything like that, just please consider me. He texted me back immediately. I'm sitting in the parking garage of 2K at the time, figuring out, I'm like, all right, I'm probably going to go home, start filling out job applications, figure out what's next. He texts me, he goes, hey, how soon can you come to the studio? And at the time it was on the other side of town. I said, I could be there in about 25 minutes. So I drive down there. He goes, I actually have a perfect opportunity for you. We have a show that streams 7 days a week, sometimes 8 hours a day. I need somebody to help facilitate with most of those. And I said, okay, all right, well, engineering. And then he was like, yeah, engineering is arguably the easiest job that we have here. And I was like, okay, cool. And at the time it was a pay raise. They were going to pay me a good chunk more than what I was making already. And it was a field I wanted to be in. I was like, okay, cool. I am thankful to that studio because I learned a lot. I was put through the ringer at that studio. I equate my quality of work now and my level of confidence now to that studio because I did so much. I worked with so many big clients. I worked with so many shows. I mean, at one point there were 60 shows that were produced by myself and one other person, which was George. So we learned very quickly how to produce, how to edit, how to engineer, how to even host. I mean, like I said, we'd already had our shows for a couple of years at that point, but I feel that it really helped me become a better host. And I was started off as an engineer. Then I became a producer, which was pretty much the only other role there was. It was a producer, which we called a predator because you still did all the editing and everything. Predator just means producer, editor. And then once we started kind of filling out the team, I became head of editing for a little bit. Now I still had my producer role at the time. I was still doing all of that for all those shows while also kind of managing the editing team. Eventually I decided, along with the rest of the team, hey, I think it'd be better if I just produced. I'm going to hand off editing to this other guy, Trey, who's a really good editor, and he ran with it and he did a phenomenal job as head of editing. So I kind of just stuck as a producer. So now I was there for a couple of years. Last year, it wasn't a right fit for me anymore, just to put things simply. And I left along with a few others. We left around the same time. And I was kind of back to my own. I had a couple of clients on my own already still at that point, but it wasn't enough to pay my bills or, live off of really. And I'd met this guy named Robert. Now you've seen Robert on this channel before. I actually met him through a client who's still a client of mine, Brandon from Vegas, who I'd had for a couple of years at this point. And Robert and I started a show called Content Junkies, and it was really cool. It was a really cool, almost like a Think Media style show where we talked to other people and that were content creators, videographers, marketing, all that kind of stuff. And then it was fun. It was really fun because we just had a bunch of different show ideas, and we were like, all right, we're going to record 4 today. Let's knock them out. And then we put them out, and then we put clips out, and it was all really good. So I'd known Robert. Kind of the same thing happened. I left Sticky Paws, and I texted Robert. I said, hey man, I'm not there anymore. And he goes, that's actually really great timing. He's like, can you come to, it's always, I got to go somewhere. It almost feels like a GTA game where it's like, you get to go talk to this guy for a little bit. So I went to Robert's event. He was throwing a social media event. I met with him. He paid me to kind of do video for him while I was there, which was cool. It was really awesome. And he goes, hey, I want to show you this back room we have here at this office. And I was like, okay. And it was a podcast room. And he goes, we built out this podcast room because we want to take on podcast clients. I don't want to do it. Can you do it? I was like, yeah, I mean, I was head of editing. I pretty much produced and ran the other studio at times. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. It was a weird kind of situation where I wasn't an employee of CC Media. Still not now. I'm still contracted with them, and I do a lot of work. I still work with Robert regularly. I still work with those guys, and I love CC Media. But it was kind of like a barbershop situation where like I came in and kind of rented the room from them at a discounted rate, and then I brought in my own clients. And so it was a really cool opportunity, and it really helped me kind of solidify myself as a business owner as well as a podcast producer. I had met this gentleman named Jay Wasley. You might know him from the show Ghost Adventures. He has where I'm sitting in right now, which this is a full production building. It's not even just this room. This is just a room here. He was another person that I reached out to when I had left Sticky Paws, and he was like, yeah, man, if you think we could convert one of the rooms into a podcast room or something. I was like, okay, cool. And then I met this gentleman named Mike when I came here to kind of pick up and drop off some equipment. And Mike does a lot of pro audio stuff, works with some big influencers and big companies, and then also does some stuff here. And he was like, I really want Simple Equations to kind of be bigger than what it is now. And at the time, it was just like whatever clients Jay kind of had coming in and out, but we wanted something solidified here. So October of last year, and I'll try to insert some of the footage here. October of last year, we started building out this room. This was a break room. We started building it out, started laying wallpaper, putting up sound treatment. And in February of this year, 2025, we soft launched this room. And in March, we hard launched this room, and it's been a dream ever since. Now I do have some clients where they have their own specific studios, which if you follow me on Instagram, which you should, you can see when I'm there. But this is my main hub. So now it's not my studio, but I kind of run the studio for Jay when he's not here. He's on location all the time filming for the show. And I'm super grateful to Jay for the opportunity to kind of make this place my home along with him. I mean, it's a great facility. It has everything you could ever want. So that's kind of my story in a quick, brief Cliff Notes version of how I got started and how I ended up where I am now. As far as being a producer, I think you need to be a host first. I think you need to, I'm not saying you have to have a major show. I just think you have to understand what it's like to sit here and have a conversation with somebody and lead a conversation, lead a discussion, know what questions to ask, know when you're talking too much, when to back off from somebody. I would say that be a producer, an invaluable skill is having a podcast and being a host first. That for me allowed me to be able to connect with whoever is sitting in that chair. I can go, hey, I understand. Yeah, you're nervous. Okay, let's talk it out. What are we nervous about? My job is to make sure that they focus on having a great show. So if they're nervous about the equipment, I tell them you don't have to worry about any of that. We have it figured out. As far as live switching and broadcast and all that, this is where it gets really expensive because I'm not live switching right now. It's just me, but we have a Blackmagic board over there. I know that Rode has a new one out, and I actually just recently used it on a shoot, which I can't really say too much about, but I can show this picture of Travis, who was my old boss at Sticky Paws. Him and I just had a gig a few weeks ago that I was able to hire him for, and he was invaluable for it. So in a nutshell, what equipment is needed? At the bare bones, you need an audio interface. I highly recommend, and I'll have this all linked below, I highly recommend the Rode Caster Pro 2. It's really great. You can use it as an interface as well as just a standalone recorder. You can do up to 4 mics, which at a certain point, I feel like anything over 4 mics for a podcast kind of gets a little crazy and can get a little out of hand really quickly. For cameras, when I build out studios all the time for clients, I do have kind of my tiers of what I would like as well as budget. So the most budget option I've ever gone with, and I do like it to an extent, is the ZV-E10, Sony's ZV-E10. It's really good. It's really nice 4K footage. The only problem is it's really quick to overheat. So you do need to make sure it's cooled in your room. And also I recommend these fans as well that you can hook up to the back of them. Just kind of helps with circulation. That's kind of the budget option. What I'm recording on right now, this is actually the podcast camera. So this is one side of the podcast room. There's another one right over here to my right. These are FX30s. I love these. These are great. They're really good for what they are. They are crop sensor, just like the ZV-E10. So do with that what you will. I personally crop sensor full frame. The only difference is I just can't use all my lenses. But these look great. Quality is great. Had nobody complain about the quality. I think it's on par with everything out there. Now, for this other client of mine, I do actually use my FX6, and that is because, well, I don't feel like I use it enough, and also it's just easy to kind of transport as opposed to the A7 III here, which I can't even do more than 30 minutes recording. So that's kind of it's a little bit of an annoying thing. But those are the bare minimum. You need some cameras, some tripods, a Rodecaster Pro 2 or any kind of recording device, and then microphones with XLR cables. Now you should have lighting. Like there's lighting here, there's a light here, there's a light here. I've got light over here. Light. You got to know how to properly light. You got to know 3-point lighting. You don't have to go to school like I did or like Travis did or like, Jay didn't go to school for it. You can learn this online. YouTube University is tremendous. But I would say just learn the basics of lighting. Understand how to light somebody properly. Understand how to like play angles and understand, your framing. Like right now, I don't know. I'm looking over the monitors over there. I might be in frame here. I could probably cheat this in the edit. But understanding framing, understanding your backgrounds, understanding depth of field, understanding all of that. I would say you should have a basic understanding of your camera or whatever cameras you're going to be using. You should have a basic understanding of lights and a basic understanding of audio, because with the audio tracks, there's a gate on here. There's a compressor. There's all sorts of things you have to you don't have to be an expert, but I would say you need to be at least proficient and to understand. And then as well, as far as jobs, I'm a little different where I started at a company and then now I'm my own company. And that's just what I fell into it. And I realized, oh, you know what? I make more money. I have more freedom. I'm a little bit happier. I don't have anybody directly over me except for my clients. And it's kind of nice. As far as jobs, jobs are kind of tough everywhere right now, unfortunately. So I would say just keep looking. I would say though, start producing shows, start doing your own show, make it look as good as you can. That is your resume right there. Good content, good sound, good video, social media. That's another thing. Podcasting is only a little bit of what I do now. Most of my clients now, I do a lot of social media management or consulting or marketing or strategizing. So podcasting is still like, sure, my bread and butter, if you want to call it that. But now I'm doing more on location shoots. Now I'm doing more things where I'm face to face with a client and it's not because they're in a podcast room. So I would say that's another thing potentially. Everybody says once I niche down, my business exploded. For me, it's the other way. It's I niche out one more area of expertise. All of a sudden I have 3 new clients in that area. So I would say don't limit yourself to just being a producer. If you can get in as an engineer, get in as an engineer. If you can get in as an editor, get in as an editor. I would say just start doing it, because for me, if I only wanted to be a producer, I wouldn't be here now, because I wouldn't have taken that engineering job. I wouldn't have taken the head of editing job. Even though I was an editor first, I wouldn't have taken any social media gigs or client relations gigs or marketing or anything like that. I would have taken any of those because I would have pigeonholed myself into being just a producer. So I hope this answers your question. I do appreciate the question. If you have other questions you want to leave me, leave it down below. Also, please check out my Substack. It is brand new. It's a really cool thing that I'm doing, and it just allows me to kind of give you guys a little bit more content and let you guys be a little more engaged. It's completely free. All you have to do is just sign up with your email. It goes straight to your inbox every time I make a post. Keeps you up to date with new videos, new ideas I'm having, new podcast episodes, all of that. Also, check out my podcast, The Alvarez Project. I'll link the playlist down here. Let me know what else you guys want to hear about my career or any other advice maybe I could give. But thanks again for watching. I appreciate you guys. See you guys on the next one.